Now, one thing, kind of looking back at things, kind of milestones and shit like that. We're at the end of 2016. The years that are close, we're now facing one of the biggest elections ever, and both, the sheer fact that there's people who are of experience and those that are just reality TV stars. We have the opportunity, and we're seeing that space tourism is going to be an actual thing. Should we have fucking hoverboards? We now, there's a limited print, but they actually came out with the fucking Back to the Future Nike self-lacing shoes. We've reached a lot of things. Shit, we can fucking voice communicate, via a video audio device, and we do that shit on the daily. And a lot of do you get your prediction things like, but we've come such a long way, and still have a lot more to progress, of course, internally, spiritually, metaphorically, but in movies, like I said, they're almost old enough to drink now. Some of the biggest, milestones, there's, biggest, things that kind of, if not started a phenomenon, then we're at the very least just something that was cutting edge. And one of them is the movie Independence Day, which, once again, all the movies I'm about to go into right now, they all released in the year 1996. All were important in its own right, or just, a pretty big deal, and it's that old now. And even though we've had special effects and CGI for a minute, we've come a long way from the fucking Godzilla videos where it's someone in a goddamn not fluffy, what are they called? When they kind of dress up like an animal, whatever the hell, some kind of mascot gear. And we've come a long way from that. I remember when Independence Day came out, it was the first movie I've ever seen on DVD. And this is where people spent thousands of dollars on getting these entertainment systems, which, luckily I was blessed to have some hand-me-downs. But, people really, they go balls deep to be able to get this home theater experience. And if you have the luxury to, then you fucking should, because that's how you're able to enjoy shit. And there's some people who have, shits in their living room way better than your fucking AMC. Fuck you, Hawkins. Anyways, I remember just that, some of it still kind of lives up to today. I haven't seen it in a minute. I know they even had a fucking sequel. Like I said, they had to wait fucking 20 years. But it's 20 years old now. Like, you could almost legally drink. That's how old this fucking movie is. Another one that turns 20 is Romeo and Juliet. The one with Claire Danes and Leonardo DiCaprio. It was one of the first movies I remember seeing him in. I remember seeing him, I guess, in Who Was Eating Gilbert Grape before so. But when I saw that movie, it really made me appreciate the literature. And, even though we had the 70s versions, it was a pretty big deal. A lot of it because they kept exact to the dialogue, which is what you should. You don't fuck with his words. And although it may seem outdated, they were able to kind of carry it into just how it is now. I remember them referencing specifically the word sword with a nigga holding a pistol. And I remember Crucio, or however you say his name, he was this flamboyant, tranny at one point in the movie. And it was just dope all around. I highly suggest you see it. I remember that year was actually full of Shakespeare stuff. I think Macbeth came out that time too. There's always those times where they come back and forth. But another one that turns 20 and we're still getting its sequels today is Mission Impossible. I don't remember exactly the first one, but this is kind of where Tom Cruise was on his shit. And this is, I think, what kind of solidified him as an action star. Another one that came out that year was The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Probably one of the darker Disney movies at the time. This is, mind you, before they were into getting hardcore in the CGI animation. Even though that's when the year prior is when they had Toy Story. But even then, it did a whole lot, and I can't remember the movie too much because I remember just feeling bad at seeing the Hunchback like that. But it's. It had its emotions. Another one was The Birdcage with Robin Williams, and I forget the dude who played his gay lover, but fucking hilarious. I wish I would have rewatched it again just to kind of take in a glimpse of it. But they pretty much played two gay producers, and it's Birdcage. That's just gay trivia 101. You got to know that. Just how you got to know fucking the Rockyville horror. Another one here was Jerry Maguire, and this is when it was Tom Cruise again and Cuba Gooding Jr. And I think Cuba Gooding was working for the Cardinals, and that was such a big deal. And I have no idea what makes fucking movies and how they can land on a fucking certain team. And I mean, most of our movie production crews are kind of based in Scottsdale, so that just was kind of a good nod to us. At least I thought I really liked it. This is at a point where the Cardinals weren't really all that great, and they didn't have a stadium. They were fucking sharing the stadium at the time with the ASU Sun Devils, which is a fucking college team here. So that was kind of a big deal and kind of shitty that when the franchise itself went without having its own place for so long. But you make dues and you grow from that. Now they have a fucking beautiful stadium. Is it the Phoenix College Stadium? Yeah, something like that. It's fucking dope as hell. And just shouts out to them fucking picking the Cardinals. And it's almost funny because I almost thought it was kind of a shit talking move because years prior they did the Major Leagues, which is a baseball movie, and it was based on the Cleveland Indians. And it's just, I'm like, were they that shitty of a team? They're like, fuck it, if you can get us some publicity, then we won't knock it. Next one here on the list was Scream, and my goodness, this is one of the, I guess, hippest, first commercialized, horror movies. It's kind of what got Wes Anderson, in the door. Young Drew Barrymore was in there. She was a baddie. I mean, Courtney Cox. I forget the other bitch who played the other main bitch, but it's a series that not only continued, but also is constantly being made fun of and kind of is the basis for things now and trilogies. So it was kind of a big deal. Another one here was Swingers. Swingers was probably my first foray into Vince Vaughn, and I was too young to really appreciate that shit back then, but just kind of seeing it back now. There's this badass line, I'm trying to remember, where I talked about, the White Bunny. And the White Bunny, I forget who played her, but she's a really cutie too. She ended up in the first Austin Powers flick. Or no, was it the second or third? I don't fucking remember. But, still baddie with it. And just kind of saying about the lonely, fragile, prey and, us men are the big bad wolves that are out there trying to, sink our teeth into something. Bitch Dykes too. Don't think I'm ignoring you guys. Another one was The People versus Larry Flint. And I just remember that being such a big deal. Because I remember asking my dad, like, who the fuck this guy was. And mind you, this is a movie that's out there. So you're going to hear about it. And just to throw your name out there's enough to cause curiosity. Anyways, Larry Flint was the fucking, I don't know if he was the owner or co-founder of Hustler. And it's a very dirty magazine. Another one here, and this probably meant one of the biggest as far as for this actor is Happy Gilmore. And it was kind of one of the, what's his name? Fucking Adam Sandler had already gotten his foot in the door. He was already, getting hype off of MTV. This is now where he's his own little star and he's creating his own shit. I mean, Happy Gilmore Productions became the name of his posse and crew. So yeah, that kind of was it. And one of my closest homies, he's such a fucking fan. Like, he sees himself in similarities, and I cannot commit. Adam Sandler gets a lot of shit for kind of making shitty shit now, and I want to say it started probably when he started doing Jack and Jill. And, you might get a fluff piece, you get a wacky idea, and sometimes it'll stick, and it might be fun, hopefully. And one thing for sure I know he does, though, he does have fun, especially when there was a movie, because I loved him when he did shit with Drew Barrymore. Shouts out to her, and you'll hear more from her later if you haven't heard, if I haven't already used her yet. But when he did 50 First Dates, and even before that, he did Wedding Singer. He did good movies, because they match, they have good chemistry, and she's adorable. And, and he can be funny when he can. And they did some other movie where they go to fucking Africa. It was some bullshit. Funniest part was when Terry Crews fucking did a titty dance. Like, it was not the greatest of things. But he has the opportunity that when he does these movies, he's able to go out on location and fucking take his family and his friends. And if that's not the coolest fucking thing when you're doing movies, fuck with all the haters saying, nigga, I have fun and I got paid. Hello. Now, the last one I'll mention here is Fargo. And I admit, I really don't remember it, but I know that I'm a really big fan of the Coen brothers. My favorite fucking movie is probably, one of my favorites is No Country for Old Men. And I feel like it's a fucking masterpiece. Everything they've done except for that last shit where was it Hail Caesar? I mean, maybe I just haven't watched it enough times, because when I watch a movie of theirs, I watch it fucking repeatedly. It's going to sink in. It's going to speak to you. they did just fucking dope ass shit afterwards. So they're the shit, and you should definitely look up the discography. And Fargo was such a fucking cult classic that, I mean, it fucking had people right behind it. And I don't know if it's a Netflix exclusive. I don't know. I'm too much on Netflix dick. I think it's either a FX or AMC. One of them cats, and if I'm totally wrong, then fucking forgive me. But they now have a show, and supposedly that's on the second, not supposedly, it's on the second or third season, and apparently it's the shit. And the only reason I wouldn't want to see it is because fucking Kirsten Dunst is in it, and ever since she did me wrong on Bring It On and Spider-Man, it just has broken my heart, and I don't want to see the bitch anymore. Well, actually, she did Spider-Man because she did Bring It On, and for that I just got fed up with the bitch. But it looks like a fucking really good cast. I can't really speak too much on the show, but fucking, yeah, I'm gonna check it out for damn sure. And that's fucking 20 years. The fact that what happened then is still kind of trickling in, and we're still using moving forward. And I sure hope we don't start remaking these shits. This kind of worries me because we are kind of in a way shit from back then. We're still be doing it, trying to kind of bite off of nostalgia and hoping that fucking makes us an extra penny. And, you know, you could hope that it's going to be more entertaining and hopefully not just based to fucking get shit out of our wallets, but like, hopefully it can engross or create a universe or a story that we can really get lost into, or that can speak to us. And once again, open us up more. Hopefully. I'm just talking shit now.